Hi you guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I wanted to give you an update and actually a correction to some information that I put out on my last video regarding the public transportation system in Paris, and more specifically, a correction to the rates that I was sharing. I do think that this video will save you some money, so I encourage you to watch until the end. And I do apologize that I didn't get it right in the first video. I will say that before I put out any video on YouTube, I do extensive research. And for that last video, I did all my research online, but then I actually took that research into an information desk for the RATP in a metro. And I went through line by line to make sure that the information that I was going to share with you was 100% correct. And the RATP agents confirmed with me that it was. So I was also very shocked to read in the comments and also hear from you guys during our consultation calls that you actually could access the preferential rates that are meant for residents and that you weren't obligated to purchase the tourist or the visitor rates. Now, I will put on screen the table that I shared last time that shows you the difference between these two rates. To give you a quick example, the weekly rate for residents is 31 euros and 60 cents, while the day pass meant for tourists or visitors is 29 euros and 60 cents. So you can see that the price point is pretty much on par, but the tourist is getting a 1-day pass, whereas the resident is getting a 7-day pass. So it's a pretty significant price difference. And I actually think that having these two separate rates and two different options not only confuses tourists in the same way that it confused me, but is also a little bit scammy. So we'll get deeper into it and I will hopefully explain it better this time around. The only reason I was able to get to the bottom of this story is because I went back into 4 different information booths for the RATP, and I kept asking the same questions until I got a straight answer from someone, and I didn't get that until person number 4. And so I'm going to share everything I learned with you today. Now, it is true there are 2 separate passes that you can purchase. You have the Pass Navigo Easy, which I mentioned in my last video, and this is the pass that gives you access to the tourist rates. So these are the day passes 1 through 5. Again, I'll put a picture on screen, but the price is very high compared to the residence rate. Again, to give you an example, the 5-day pass for the tourist is pretty much on par with the month-long pass for the resident. So it is like 4 times more expensive if you're just doing the Pass Navigo Easy. Now, you can either buy the physical card at an information desk and it costs 2 euros, or you can just load tickets onto your phone, which is what I recommend because it's easier, faster, and you don't have to pay an extra 2 euros for a plastic card that you could also potentially lose. So that is option 1, and that is not an option that I would ever recommend to anybody, because there's no reason, there is no actual benefit to purchasing those rates. The other card that you have access to, which I highly recommend, is the Pass Navigo Découverte, and this is a dark blue card that is associated to a person. So for this card, you have to pay 5 euros and you have to provide a photo that they can stick on the card, and this card belongs to you. You can't share with other people. Now, I do also want to clarify that while you can go in and purchase this 5 euro card, again, I think it's much more simple to purchase the pass that you want on your phone. That way you can avoid having to bring in a photo and waiting in line and being more confused by rates at an information desk. You can just do everything on your phone. I do recognize that some people will have to buy passes because they might not have access to a phone, or they might be traveling with children and you'll need to get passes for your children. So yes, both options exist. You can buy the card or you can just do it on your phone. But the difference is that with the Pass Navigo Découverte, you have access to the preferential resident rates. And so that is the 31 euros and 60 centimes weekly pass, or the, I think it's 90 euros or 88 euros monthly pass. And this will save you a lot more money than just buying individual tickets or buying the 1-day pass at the tourist rate. And so when I learned that visitors and tourists can access these rates, my first question was, why do you even offer the tourist rate of 29 euros for a day pass when they can, for the same amount of money, have a weekly pass? Like, why would you even offer that? And agents 1 to 3 that I spoke to literally said, that's a good question. I don't know. And then I said, I hope you're not suggesting to tourists that they buy that, because that is not in any way beneficial or helpful to them. And the agents were like, no, of course not. We do tell them to purchase, the Pass Navigo Découverte. We tell them they have access to the preferential rates. And I was like, I honestly don't get it. Like, why do you even have this rate? And agents 1 to 3 said, I guess I'll ask my manager. I'm not really sure why we have these. If the tourists can access the Navigo Découverte rates, then there should just be one rate for everybody. There shouldn't even be that first rate that exists. And then it was the 4th agent who explained to me that for legal reasons, they do have to offer 2 separate rates, one preferential rate for residents. And for him, the reason being that because our companies pay for our transportation, like any company you work for in Île-de-France in Paris, pays at least 50% of, not pays, but covers at least 50% of your transportation costs, they do have to have this preferential rate for residents. At least that's how he explained it. And then again, I was like, okay, so there is a preferential rate for residents, but if I recommend to people that they buy this rate if they have access to it on their phones, will they get a fine? For example, if they are stopped in the metro by a controller and the controller sees that they have a rate meant for a resident, are they going to be fined? And he said, no, they're not going to be fined. And I would encourage you to encourage other tourists and visitors that you speak with to continue to buy their tickets at the resident rate, at the Pass Navigo Découverte rate, while they can. Those were his words. And so what it seems like to me is that ever since they changed the system in January to a new system with comprehensive tickets, and they gave us the ability to load our passes onto our phones and through the app, I do believe that there is a sort of glitch that allows absolutely anybody to access the rates at the Pass Navigo Découverte level, even if those rates are really meant for visitors. So as he recommended, while you can, I would definitely continue to buy your tickets at these rates. And it's not even complicated to do. If you open your phone, if you open your app, it is very easy to buy your tickets at the preferential rate. I'm just not even sure. Honestly, it makes no sense to me why they still offer the tourist rate if everybody can just have the more advantageous rate. I keep saying rate. I feel like I've said it so many times. I just want to make sure that it's clear. So yes, I did get a lot of comments saying I used to be able to purchase the Découverte rate. I recently purchased the Découverte rate. Is this okay? What has changed? And the answer is nothing has changed. You have access to these rates for now. The day when you don't have access to these rates, I will share that with you. But yes, any ticket you buy on your phone, you are legally allowed to purchase at that rate. And I would also be very weary of any RATP agent that's trying to sell you on the tourist rate of 30 euros for a day pass. To me, that is very much scammy behavior. So I think that brings us to the end of this mini update video. Again, I really do apologize for not getting the information right on the first video. That is something that's very important to me. I put a lot of work into researching my videos. I wouldn't have gone in and double checked with the RATP agent like 2 months ago if that wasn't the case. I always want to share the most accurate information with you. And I feel like I've let myself down by not getting the rates right the first time. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching this video. I hope I have clarified. If you have any other questions about rates, about passes, about the Navigo, let me know down below. I really hope this video was clear. And yes, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in my next video.